for glory. And sparkling water making history here. This is a top victory. See it again in Winchester Mansion. Eyeball to eyeball. Here it comes, Winchester Mansion. See it again.
Oriental Charm. Oriental Charm. Watch your cousin Royal Victory.
The Hollywoodbets Durban July Panel Preview 2025 is powered by Hollywoodbets.
The Hollywoodbets Durban July, Africa's greatest horse racing and social events, is just around the corner. Saturday the 5th of July, Hollywoodbets Greyville, that's the address, that's where you want to be. And we're expecting over 45,000 people to walk through the gates at Hollywoodbets Greyville on the 5th of July. Unbeatable tradition, unbeatable atmosphere, close to, if not better, than a Springbok test match. And you can also wear your best interpretation of the marvels of Mzansi, the theme of the 129th running of Africa's greatest horse race. A great pleasure to be here to talk about the horses, to talk about the 18 runners and 2 reserves, the class of 2025 for the Hollywoodbets Durban July. And let me introduce the panel before we get started. And it's not often that we fill a room with the CVs as strong and as swashbuckling as some of these members. We say big thanks to Justin Snaith for coming to join us, as always, on the Hollywoodbets Durban July panel, 5-time winning trainer of Africa's greatest horse race. Mike de Kock, also 5-time winning trainer, started in 2002 with the Pitombi, and as you would have seen in the opening, the most recent being in 2022 with Sparkling Water. Anthony Delpech, the syndicate manager of Hollywood Racing, 4-time winning jockey of the Hollywoodbets Durban July. He's going to come and impart his knowledge. The first female jockey to ride in the greatest horse race on the continent, Rachel Venniker, is also part of the panel this year, and the winning jockey of 2 years ago aboard Winchester Mansion, Kabelo Matsunyane, has come to join us as well, as we dissect the runners, the riders, and all the chances this year in the next hour or so. Just before we get into it, just a little bit of housekeeping that I want to bring to your attention. Let's start off with the Hollywoodbets Punters Challenge. Yep, of course, all you need is a Hollywoodbets account to be able to play, and 20 million rand is up for grabs if you're able to select all 12 winners on the day. There's 750,000 rand up for grabs that must be won in this free-to-play competition. There's a share of 20 million rand up for grabs for those who can predict all 12 winners on the card. What about the deposit promos that Hollywoodbets are offering through the week for the Hollywoodbets Durban July? They're hosting their 15% deposit bonus promotion from today until Sunday the 6th of July. Let's bring up the betting for the 18 runners plus 2 reserves for this year's edition of the Hollywoodbets Durban July. And of course, this is subject to change. One of the shortest price favourites in the race's recent history is number 11, 8 on 18. Will he start shorter than odds on, or will he drift come race time? That all remains to be seen. Single figures about numbers 1, Oriental Charm, the defending champion, and the unknown quantity trained by Mike and Matthew de Kock in the form of Immediate Edge. And then the Real Prince heads up the rest. Right, let's get straight into it. Let's start with last year's winner, number 1 on the card, Oriental Charm. James Crawford now flies solo. Last year trained by Brett Crawford. Brett has now gone on to ply his trade in Hong Kong. We got JP van der Merwe taking the ride on last year's winner. And let me bring Justin Snaith straight into the picture here. A horse that's got the biggest heart, obviously a massive run last time on the Hollywoodbets Gold Challenge when finishing second. We're going to have a look at last year's rerun as well, where he made all and just refused to throw him in the towel. That's pretty much the story. He's bidding to become, I think, the 6th horse to go back-to-back in the Hollywoodbets Durban July, the last one being Do It Again, who you trained. How do you rate his chances this year?
I think he's certainly the horse that we are up against. It's very similar to the Met in Cape Town, where they ran first and second. He does get, he's a little bit better off at the weight since then, but that is a weight for age, and I like to think that 8 and 18 has made that progression. He's in a... So at those terms, certainly a lot of respect to Oriental Charm. And as I said, I think he's got a lot going for him into this race. He's got good form close to the race. There's very little you can change within 3-4 weeks of this race. If your horse runs a bad race as a prep run, it is very hard. There's not enough time to turn it around. So certainly what I think is our danger in this year's race.
Anthony, we're having a look at last year's race and just how JP got into position, got him into where he wants to be. This year, we're not going to have a discussion on pace because we take it on trust that there's going to be a mighty pace in the Hollywoodbets Durban. I think that great theory that everyone talks, or the debate that everyone has, is thrown out the window this year. Do you think it's imperative that he gets to the front, or do you think if something leads him along, that'll be ideal? And how beneficial is draw one?
Well, I think with him, he's got so much speed. I think draw one is beneficial for him. I think he's going to get there for free. And obviously, JP will use his discretion in the race. If the speed is too quick, then he'll take a seat. But I think if there's nothing going around him, he's a happy horse to lead. He's gutsy. He likes to be up front. So I think he's got the cards played in his own hands.
Kabelo, you have a long association with James Crawford's yard. I know that you've not ridden Oriental Charm in a race before, but with that said, how gutsy is this horse? Because it's been often that you've gone alongside him in races and he just keeps finding and grounding.
It's a very gutsy horse. He's got a lot of heart, and he's on his day when he's put his head into the game. He's one of the toughest horses you'd ever ride, and he's got his disadvantages where sometimes it does look to hang out off the rail, but once he put his head in the business, he's one of the tough knockers out there.
Mark, is he a winning chance for you?
He does, definitely. The thing that worries me about him is I'm all about preps. And if I go back to his July prep that he won last year, he had the 3 races going in, or 2 races going in. This was the 3rd. Hard races brought him on. He's only had 1 coming into this race. So not the same prep as he had before. And I see in Cape Town too, when he went into the Met, where he ran a cracking race behind 8 and 18, his second run, he bounced. He had a flat run. It would worry me slightly. Hell of a horse. I'm in 2 minds about the draw one. I think, they come across from the outside and they squeeze. Everyone wants to get to that fence. Every trainer, drawn 8 out of 18, is told his trainer that his jock to sit second on the fence. So that they come and they just squeeze pimples on the inside. They just come across. So he might have to, if he is determined on leading, he might have to use a little bit more speed than he would normally to hold his spot. Because if he takes a little bit of a hold and he starts letting 1 or 2 across, when he blinks, he could be midfield. So, if you look at him there last year, he stayed out of all the trouble, just tacked across quietly, no problem, got there almost for nothing, I want to say. Whereas this year, I think he's going to have to use a fair bit of his tactical speed to hold his spot, because there's going to be a few that are going to look for the position that he's aiming for.
Let's go on to number 2 on the card. This is Madison Valley. Frank Robinson trains and Gavin Larena takes the ride. And Gavin, one of 3 jockeys chasing the title at the moment. So his engagement is going to be beneficial. Winner of the Hollywoodbets Dolphins Cup trial last time out, which ultimately got him into the race where he turned over Underworld. Rachel, I'm going to kick off with you because he's one of the local horses and you know him pretty well from races that you would have ridden against him. Can he cut the mustard at the highest level?
I think it is quite a stiff up and task for him. I know him from work, but he's a lovely horse and he's drawn 2, so hopefully he'll do something for Natal.
Let's have a look at his last one, which was, of course, in the Hollywoodbets Dolphins Cup trial. There's litigation, one of the reserves, and On My Honour, who we'll get to in just a moment in behind. Mike, sort of off the radar, unthinkable that he'd get into this race on the back of his run in the World Sports Betting 1900, but here we are dissecting his chances. Winning chance, place chance, or just not quite good enough?
Place for me, I'm not convinced he's a Group 1 horse. He's a horse that likes to sit fairly handy too, so he could be a little bit worrisome for JP, who's right on his inside. You almost don't want a horse that's got a similar running style to you when you're drawn 1. But I just don't see him. He's got to take a massive leap in form for him to win this.
While we have a look at that, there's On My Honour, who ran 3rd, and that's number 3 on the card in the Hollywoodbets Durban. Samango Kamalo takes a ride for Glenn Cotson. Durban is buzzing with this horse's chances, Anthony. On that rerun, do you think he'll turn it around with Madison Valley? And do you think the talk around town is on the money with this horse?
Well, if you're going to give On My Honour a chance, then you've got to give Madison Valley a chance too. So on the form, I really think he'll struggle. He's got a very good draw. He's got Shmanga on top. Obviously, he knows what it takes to win those big races, and sometimes you have to have those jockeys that has the bottle to win the big race, and he's got the right jockey on top. Listen, he's got a good prep, but I think he's going to find it a little bit tough for him.
Justin, this also sort of come from the shadows of 8 on 18, who will obviously get to sort of in the midway stage of this discussion. His gallop, for whatever gallops are worth, looked to be very encouraging. Glenn Cotson knows how to win the Hollywoodbets Durban July, won in 2009 with Big City Life. Is this the sort of the 3-year-old that's well weighted that people have got to watch out for? Do you think he's just coming a little bit too soon for him?
Look, I'll give him a chance in that. Very interesting, the last 2 horses we've spoken about. The riders are very good. So you got Gavin Larina and Shimango Kumalo. They are, but there's also, I like to think, well, that's 2 jockeys that will find it hard because maybe their horses aren't quite up to what they've ridden previously in this race. And that's certainly a big asset to us because no matter how hard they push, they could find themselves in a bit of trouble. Good prep, but in that race, we had Underworld that was right on top of them, and we felt that he wasn't up to this level at this distance, and we decided not to run. And by doing that, it helped get a lot of these horses into the race. So their biggest assets are the riders that are on board, and I do think that Onmaona had a better prep than the previous horse that we spoke about. He's a little bit more on the up.
Okay, so that's very interesting indeed. Number 4 on the card is Atticus Finch, winner of the Betway Summer Cup. Calvin Abib takes her out for Alec Laird. Alec won it in 1996 with London News. That was the 100th edition. And if Alec were to win, it would be the longest time between drinks as far as winning trainers is concerned. Let's have a look at his win at Turfentine at the end of the year when winning the Summer Cup, beating Purple Pitcher. Kabelo rode Purple Pitcher. Kabelo, let's start with you with Atticus Finch. This was a big win, clearly the biggest on his CV. Were you always chasing in vain, or do you think you could have done something differently to have turned him over on this occasion? Was he full merit for the win?
I think it was full merit for the win. Purple Pitcher did everything right to try and win the race. And, you know, when Calvin went past me, I knew it was going to be tough for me to get the upper hand. I mean, I fought off seed again, main defender, and Ferry Pegasus that was coming for the minor places. And, you know, I almost fought them off, but just one horse that I couldn't get past, and that was Atticus Finch.
Do you think he's a live chance, or do you think he's in that place chance category?
I think his chances are open. He never really travelled well to Cape Town, and he came back. His prep is fairly good. He ran a nice race behind Immediate Edge with top weight, and I think his prep has gone smooth, and I'll give him an open chance in the race.
Mark, I suppose if Immediate Edge comes into the consideration as a winning chance, and Atticus Finch shouldn't be all that far behind.
Yeah, you look again, you know, he was well beaten by, I mean, I'd love to have seen Fire Attack against 8 on 18. That, you know, I think, and Confederate, by the way. Would have been nice to have had those 2 3-year-olds, those 3 3-year-olds running together, because they seem to be the best around over this trip, that's for sure. I don't see him as a winner. Again, he's a horse that's going to have to make a huge leap in form. His last run was a pretty good run with top weight, for sure. 57, he's one of those horses that I think, are they paying the 6 places again? He certainly is.
World pool meeting, so Hong Kong rules for the big race.
So but they're not inconceivable to see him in the money, that's for sure. I don't see him as a winner.
What about the Real Prince, though, number 5 on the card? Very interesting prep, very interesting talking points as far as this horse is concerned. Dean Canama and Kaya Stables. Dean is the trainer, Kaya Stables' own. They won in 2015 with Power King. Dean's won it with Eye of the Tiger and Dynasty in the early 2000s as well. Craig Zacky's got a brilliant Grade 1 record on his CV, but there's one missing. It's the Hollywoodbets Durban July. Could he do it this year, Ant? What about his stamina limitations or potential stamina limitations? Will he get the trip? And then I'll come to Mike about his prep. I mean, where are we at with this horse?
I find it very difficult for him. I think to get the trip, he's never been there. To come and win a race like the Hollywoodbets Durban July, and with not going over the trip, is really, really tough. And you look at the whole family, none of the family has really gone the trip. I'm lucky enough to have ridden the mother. She was a very good sprinter. He is a very good horse. He's got a very good draw, but I can't see him getting the trip.
And luck and running, you're going to have horses falling back onto him. I mean, you're saying your prayers at the 400, wouldn't you?
Well, he's got Canamaya that likes him to come from behind. So he's definitely going to be a horse that's kind of going to come from behind. Obviously, they want him to see the trip. So he's got to be given a chance. He could be one of those horses that could end up getting in the sandwich because the guys from the outside are going to be coming over. So it's going to be tough for him. But I really think he is going to find it tough to get the distance.
And Mark, this alternative prep that Dean's not given him in this particular case?
Well, I don't know so much. You know, I mean, I did it with Sparkling Water. We sort of chose not to run her between the Joburg run and here, and I think that was over 2 months or whatever it was. I'd rather that than one run, and the next run is your second run. I'd rather come in fresh and have that big run. Again, like Anthony, is by giving me the green light, sprint a miler, out of real Prince who produces really top-class animals from 12 to a mile, really. I just cannot see this horse staying 2-2 at Greyville.
Right, so that's the first little bit. After this break, we'll be back with the meat of the Hollywoodbets Durban July, including the favourite. Don't go too far away.
Where could everyone be? Where has everyone gone? Are they just hiding or have they moved on? Where could everyone be?
Where is everyone?
Everyone's watching the race that unites Mzansi, Africa's greatest horse racing and social event, the Hollywoodbets Durban July.
The Hollywoodbets Durban July Panel Preview 2025 is powered by Hollywoodbets.
Welcome back. Hollywoodbets moving the needle and thinking out the box yet again. Let's quickly talk about the Lucky Pick initiative that has been born over the last few years. But for those who don't know, Quick Picks done just for you. For 100 Rand, you can get a voucher of 120 Rands worth of bets for the Hollywoodbets Durban July. Whether they random win bets, place bets, all to comes, pick sixes, quartets, whatever the case may be, that's something really exciting. Life is like a box of chocolates, right? You never know what you're going to get. Let's get into number 6 on the card. This is Selukwe. Sereno Mudley takes a ride for Andre Nel for Platinum Racing. Got into this race by winning the World Sports Betting 1900. Now, Ant, when you think of how the race is going to be run with the pace likely to be on, you look for a horse that has a turn of foot. This horse's biggest weapon was his turn of foot that he showed in the World Sports Betting 1900. How live do you think this horse is?
Well, I thought his win in the World Sports 1900 was very, very impressive. He came from a long way back and he's really got a great turn of foot. And I thought the gallop was also very good. He looked very well in the gallop. I think he's a horse with the weight he's on his back. I think he's got to have a chance of winning.
Rachel, where does he fit into your pecking order? Because what we're looking at was seriously impressive. With 3 other rivals, Native Ruler, Madison Valley and Okavango. We've already spoken about Madison Valley, number 2 on the card. But Selukwe blew them away on this occasion.
Yes, he really did. You know, he was ultra impressive the way he won. I'd say he's up there with my top selections. I make him a lively contender, but I'd probably say more place chance in my book.
Kabelo, he follows the same path that Winchester Mansion took 2 years ago for winning the Hollywoodbets Durban July last year. Oriental Charm by qualifying for the World Sports Betting 1900 and winning. Can Lightning strike again through that qualifying race?
It's a tried and tested prep going into the Hollywoodbets Durban July, and look, he looks like a live horse. He's a nice looking horse. His gallop looked amazing as well. He's got a nice galloping weight, and he's got a biggest asset, which is his turn of foot. And but we must also remember that we have arguably the best horse in the country at the moment, 8 on 18. When you put him next to him, put Selukwe next to 8 on 18, where do you think they're gonna how they're gonna finish in the race? But look, you give him a chance, and I think he's a type of horse that will be in the places.
Let's go on to number 7. Now, there were no fillies in this race last year, but there is this year. It's Rainbow Lorikeet. Candice Bass-Robinson won this race with Marinaresco in 2017, becoming the first female trainer to win the race. Diego de Gavea gets a chance aboard Rainbow Lorikeet. Rachel, you were the only female in the race last year when you became the first female jockey to ride in the race. So can Rainbow Lorikeet be a little feather in the crown? Because fillies, funny enough, don't have a bad record in this race.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to point out. You know, as a filly, it doesn't make it impossible. As I've said, just as tough as the boys. So, you know, it would be really great if she could do it.
One of the bigger outsiders in the race is number 7, Rainbow Lorikeet. Justin, you know all about her. She's bumped heads with double Grand Slam on a few occasions, but can she take that step up over this distance at this level for some of the most enthusiastic owners around?
Yeah, look, not much went well for her at the gallops. There was obviously a horse that was playing up, and she had to wait and wait and wait. And I thought, oof, it's not what you want 10 days before the race. And then she galloped, and I thought she actually didn't gallop too badly. She moved. She's got a beautiful action on her. I do think this is a huge step up. And as much as I think maybe she's got half a chance, for me, I never got to say, but I think Selukwe for me is the dark horse of the race, in my opinion. Rainbow Lorikeet has a draw in her favour, but against these horses, going to be tough.
What about Pomodoro's Jet, number 8? Atandiwe Mgudwa takes her out for James Crawford. Atandiwe made his way up to the half vault during the week to ride this horse in a gallop. Kabelo's ridden number 4. He's been impressive in what he's done, but that was at a totally different kettle of fish.
Yes, definitely. He's done well for himself, but, I mean, he hasn't run in 112 days. He never had a prep building up into the July. And obviously, the trip is not much of a factor, but his best form is between 1,400 and a mile. So, with that being said, it's tough for me to say I see him as a contender in the race.
Mark, any confidence for a horse that's at 0 prep?
Scratched a month ago with the temperature, I think it was. So, I mean, I'd like to believe that if your horse isn't 100%, 3 weeks to a month off the event, or let's go 90-odd% of the event you want to win, it's going to be very, very tough. He started at last year, July Day. He was back from 25 to 2 into 28 to 10. We all thought the proverbial racing certainty in the Consolation July perhaps didn't get home in terms of distance. So just going back on that previous form, I just don't see it, you know. I'd love to have seen him over, you know, in the Greyville 1900 or one of those kind of races where he'd be stretched.
What about the PE Hope, the first runner from Delpech since 2004, and the first one sent out by Alan Greef? And an honourable mention to Alan. He's won races in Cape Town, feature races in Cape Town, won feature races obviously at home in Delpech, feature races up on the half-veldt, and a Grade 1 here on the East Coast. Can he possibly do it with My Best Shot? Chase Morjan takes around the Son of Fire away, a 10-time winner. Absolutely faultless, but faultless in Delpech. Mike, I'll kick off with you. You've won a race with a former PE horse in the past.
Paul Silvana. Yeah. It would be a massive effort, I must be honest. If one looks at the column of the horses he's beaten, I hardly recognise any of them but Wahid. So it's again, this is going to take a massive step up. Is the 116 in PE going to stack up to the 116 with these horses that are exposed in Cape Town, Joburg? I think we've seen that there is definitely a difference in ratings. I mean, what a horse. The way he accelerates, so he might be a 126 and he's 116. We don't know. Because he accelerates like a proper horse. I don't think he's really... I'm not saying he's not extended, but I don't think he's got... that we've actually seen the best out of him, although he's won 10 races. I know it sounds a bit strange. But he just seems to win with such ease that it would be really nice to see him, you know, tested. He certainly deserves his place. But he's another one that's going to have to step up a little bit, you know, in form.
Anthony, I'm of the opinion that Delpech racing has never been as strong. I mean, Hollywood racing got a plenty of horses down there, and horses that are holding their own and running time and time again. Big races, the likes of Cruise Control comes to mind. There wouldn't be a dry eye in the house of My Best Shot one, despite the fact that he might not be on too many Pick 6 tickets or Punters Challenge tickets. But do you think he'd hold his own here?
It's difficult to say, but what he's done up so far has been unbelievable. I mean, he can win from a mile to 2,400, so stamina is not even a problem. And he's got a good galloping weight. He's got 53 on the back. It's a big question mark, but wouldn't be surprised.
Let's go on to immediate edge. He is very much in the could be anything category for this year's Hollywoodbets Durban. Callum Murray takes her out for Mike and Matthew de Kock. Wonderful to have Matthew back in the country, and their first grade one winner as a combination came here a month ago with Dave the King, last season's Horse of the Year. Mike, you wouldn't be messing around here if you didn't think he was up to the task, so that I think answers for itself. How much better than the 108 is he? How much better than the 108 does he need to be? And does he, in your hearts of hearts, do you think he has a strong winning chance? Can you see yourself lifting the sash on Saturday afternoon?
You know, what worries me with this horse is the experience. He's only having his 7th start. And I think maybe I'm just getting sucked in a little bit with the July fever and the euphoria about it all. And, you know, to have a runner. He's a horse, in my mind, will definitely finish in the 120s when he's, you know, finished and furnished. He's got a tremendous amount of ability. He's got a very good acceleration. He's having his 3rd run after a rest. Is he up to it now? Yes, I'm going to say, you know, I'm in 2 months. Don't get me wrong, I really rate this horse. And I would love for him to have had the classic prep, which 8 on 18 has of the Mile Daily News, July. But off his rating, I just couldn't bring myself to do that. You know, I would have probably got beaten and got punished for it, you know. So we know that he's got a ghost rating of around, I think it's 114 or some 112. I don't know what it is. But he's going to, yeah, look, he's a decent horse. He's going to have to up his game. But I think experience is against this horse.
Kabelo, you rode him in the race that we're having a look at, the Jubilee Stakes on the 8th of June. How impressed did he feel underneath you?
He felt very impressive.
Quality of winning a Hollywoodbets Durban, July?
He's definitely got it in him. And, you know, when Mr. de Kock is saying that he thinks, obviously, with his experience-wise, I don't think that will be a problem. When you sit on him, he feels like a proper professional. He knows what to do in a race. He's a gutsy horse. And, you know, when he got a few bumps out the pens last time, he looked to be very competitive and he looked to actually poke his head in there. And even when he won with Ryan Manga, I mean, he's got heart. He's got, I think he's got everything to win this kind of race. He's got a lightweight and he's had a smooth prep building up into the July, and I think he's gonna come in at July fresh and ready for action.
Right, and what about immediate edge? Because you've won the July for the man on your left a few times, in these colours more than once as well. Can we ever write them off?
Well, these are lucky colours for the Hollywoodbets Durban July. He's won it twice, and obviously he's got a man that knows how to win the race, and I think he's a horse that's under the radar. Only question mark is this race may become a little bit too soon for him. But in the manner that he won his last race was really impressive in the way he turned it on. So he has got a great turn of foot. He's got a good galloping weight on his back with 53. I think he's a horse you can't write it off.
Justin, drawn next to you, just like Mark is right now. How much respect do you have for immediate edge?
Look, in my opinion, there's sometimes you wonder why you would want to send a horse to certain trainers. And for me, this is why you send a horse to Mike de Kock. He has placed this horse into this race, and I can assure you, I don't think any other trainer in Johannesburg would have got this horse into this race with this much going for it. So a lot of respect to then Mike actually then accomplishing it. I've been beaten a few times in this race by Mike, and I really hope it's not this year. So respect, but I do think he's been beautifully placed by Mike.
What about 8 on 18, the ruling favourite for this year's Hollywoodbets Durban July? Justin Snaith trains, Richard Fareed takes a ride. He was always a bit touch and go, Justin. You played open cards with the media that you were unsure, then eventually his name appeared. When did you make that decision?
Look, the big thing was for us was that the decision to run him or not must be based on what's best for him, not what's best for all the punters that have been backing him for the last 3 months. And that's why we made it very clear from the beginning that we were not 100% a runner. This was not, are we coming to Durban and we're running in this race? And that was never the aim. The aim was the race at the end of the season for us because it's weight for age terms and gives us our best chance of him winning. This is a race that does go down to quite a bit of tactics, a bit of luck. That's why everyone's running in this race. That's why there's 18 runners, because you have a ticket, you have a chance. That doesn't bode well when you've got a horse of the quality of 8 on 18. And also remember, this is one race in a career that we're trying to form. Mike is possibly a better trainer than me. He probably would have had 8 and 18 out the country by now. So I really hope that we've made the right decision. It is a race that's very close to Nick Johnson, and obviously Johan Rupert having a runner in this race is, as a sports lover, is something very important to all of us in the team. So everything had to go right, and it has. So we are therefore taking our chances.
Okay, let's have a look at the Met from earlier this year, the World Sports Betting Cape Town Met, because an interesting stat came our way earlier in the week that bar 8 on 18, no one else in this race has won a race. Nothing has visited the winner's enclosure anywhere, anytime since winning this race. Now, he's doing things the opposite way around. For a 3-year-old to win the World Sports Betting Cape Town Met and then go into the Hollywoodbets Durban, unheard of. But for him to win a weight for age at this stage of the season, obviously it takes a serious racehorse. What type of shape do you have him in going into this year's Hollywoodbets Durban, better or as well than on this day? And considering all your 5 wins in the past, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident can you be considering the Bulgarians to do it against the Dancers' Daughters and the Legislates?
He brings a lot to the table, this horse. Brings a stallion, Lancaster Bomber, who for me is a standout stallion at the moment in South Africa. Beach Beauty, the list is endless. No Pilot. I can carry on here of what Lancaster Bomber brings to this race. That gives me a lot of confidence. The mother is Snow Dancer's sister, impeccably bred. He brings the temperament. He brings class. I have gone one step more on him. I've decided that this is the time to press him. For the first time in his career, I've pressed him. I hope I've made the right decision, but I do think the right occasion is upon us, and it's time for him to go from the teenager to a man, and everything I throw at him, he's just laughing at me. So there's a different horse hopefully arriving on Saturday where I think I've taken about, I'd say 9 kgs off him. He strips fit, and he's ready for what this race can throw at a horse. There's nothing easy here. This is the best of South Africa, and the good news is I'm coming in with like a Stefan de Blanche or he could take every knock here, and you're going to come off second best. That's the good news. At 520 kilos, this is a brute.
Mike, you've just been flattered by Justin Snaith. Doesn't happen often. Is he the horse to beat?
Look, no doubt. Ellie, if you look at a couple of things. Firstly, the prep. The Guineas Daily News July prep. Go back over the years of all the top 3-year-olds. It's a cast in stone, rock solid prep. They either run well or win, or you know, we could name numerous. So there's that thing. When I saw him in the ring in the Daily News, you could see a horse that was still a little bit of pudding on it, that there's still more to come, which is actually quite scary. I think these other horses, to get as close as they did, Okavangos and Native Rulers and what's the other horse, the one that
On My Honour and the Guineas, yeah.
For them to get, I mean, if you could give them another 10 kilos, they won't get close to this horse. He is just a complete league above the 3-year-olds he's been running with in Durban and Cape Town. These poor horses got 15 and 18 pounds and 19 pounds, honestly, for walking across the line. And he has a horse who was easing up. If Richard rode this horse out, it's a 6 to 7 length winner for sure. He didn't even ride him out. And he swept the field. I mean, he honestly rode him with such confidence. Unbelievable. He starts with a 4 pound in his favour. Because remember now, he doesn't get the full penalty. With a handicap as it is, he's capped at 57. He's actually got 4 pounds in his favour. So he's actually starting in pens that are two to 3 lengths ahead of the others. That's the advantage that he's got. So it's going to be a tough race, of course. There's older horses that are hard knockers, not going to give him much. But he is a kind of horse that he can ride him with that kind of confidence. Stay out of trouble. Sweep around the outside and say, yeah, I'm coming. You know, there's 1 or 2 older horses will give him cheek. But I think what beats him wins. It's going to be a tough race, but what Justin's saying about the improvement that the horse has made, with that casting sun prep, is going to be very hard to beat.
That's 8 on 18. That's a good time to take a quick breather, but still a few lively chances to go.
Be in the game with Hollywoodbets.
The Hollywoodbets Durban July Panel Preview 2025 is powered by Hollywoodbets.
Welcome back. Let's put a lid on the class of 2025. Talk about the remaining runners and riders, starting with number 12, Purple Pitcher, who will be ridden by Kabelo Matsunyane for Robin Clarkson and owned by Mr. Stinky Pue, who, of course, would become the first black owner to lift the sash on the Hollywoodbets Durban July if the result were to go his way. Kabelo, what shape is he in coming into Africa's greatest horse race?
Look, I think he's in a good space. His work has been fairly good. But, I mean, he hasn't won a race this season since he won the Derby, and not a lot has gone his way of late, but his prep also wasn't really ideal. That's why I opted to try and freshen him up a little bit. But I'm just hoping for the best on the day, and hopefully we've got a draw to overcome. He's going to have blinkers back on just to help him to have that early speed, just to get the upper hand. And yeah, just hoping for a good run from him. He's got heart. He's a galloper. He can stay all day. So I think that's something that can count for something.
Are you going to be one of those horses pushing the pace?
Definitely will be one of the horses trying to push the pace and trying to be as close as I can in the race.
Mark, any hope for this hard knocker from Joburg?
I must be honest, with the greatest respect, I think he's 2 stone too heavy.
Perfect. Right, let's go on to number 13, Okavango. Justin Snaith and Andrew Fortune team up. Who would have thought Andrew Fortune would have a ride on the Hollywoodbets Durban July? Last rode in this race just under a decade ago. His return has been nothing short of sensational. Justin, Okavango, he kind of earned his stripes by winning a arbitrary handicap at Hollywoodbets Durbanville a few months ago, and that sort of put him on the map as a serious horse. Much like Immediate Edge, though, is this potentially coming too soon, or do you think he's in with a fighting chance?
I think he's very much in the same boat, to be honest. They're very smart 3-year-olds. He's a horse that I do think he's going to win his races. He hasn't put a foot wrong here in Durban. In all fairness, for a young 3-year-old, even in the Greyville 1900, where he was favourite and everyone's a bit disappointed, but he did get taken out a little bit to the top of the straight. It didn't help him. And he would have gone a little bit close. He certainly wouldn't have won the race, but I think he would have run. There's a chance he would have been second. Come on a lot from his previous run. He's in a good space, but big jump, very tough field, and certainly a horse I'm watching to see what to do with him. Is he the type of horse that I should rather take to Joburg for the season there later on, or should I bring him back to Cape Town? This is a race that will tell me that.
Rachel, do you think that he's got a legitimate chance in the race, or more a place chance like you put up in the Daily News 2000?
I'd put him the same as the Daily News, a place chance. You know, as Mr. Snaith says, he'll be a nice horse in the future, and I think he'll come on with this kind of run.
What about Confederate? He won the South African Classic at Turffontein. That got him into the race. Warren Kennedy's back, and he, of course, a former champion jockey of South Africa, been to New Zealand, and he's won everything in the land of the long white cloud. Fabian Habib trains the son of fire away. He had an almost quiet prep in the Agoli Mile, but Kabelo, you've sat on this horse before. What type of feel does he give you?
It's a nice horse. He's got a big action, and he's got substance on him. He gives you every right feel when you sit on him. I think when I rode him, it was just at a time where he was just looking for a little bit more further. And obviously being a 1475 up the straight wasn't really ideal for him. I think the bend suits him much better. And coming into the July, he was crashing in the daily news. It would be nice to see him against 8 on 18 to almost get a perfect measure of how far would he be in this race. But obviously, he can stay. He gets the trip. I think he'll be a horse that can show up on the day. He's going to be up there with the speed. He's probably going to be the horses to make a very honest gallop in the race and see if he can outstay them.
Mark, with his running style, stamina question marks, can he get home?
Very interesting runner, this. You know, he beats Fire Attack, who today's a 126. He's a 118. He's actually on paper a very well handicapped horse. Again, he's only had the one run. I mean, he was scratched down here, which was a disaster for the connections. To have run in that daily news against 8 on 18, to see where they are, and to have had at least 3 runs going into the race. So that's actually been a big knock. I'm pretty sure he needed that last run quite a lot. I mean, Craig gave him a hard ride, which I think he really needed. But this is a horse that's actually very well handicapped if you take a line of form through Fire Attack. You know, things have gone well. Again, second run, I'm always a little nervous of that going into these races. I like them to be hard knocking. But this is a racehorse, the proper horse.
What about number 15, See It Again, one of KZN's great hopes? There are quite a few hopes from KZN. They're drawn next to each other, 15, 16 and 17. Raymond Danielson takes her out for Michael Roberts. Michael Roberts won this race as a jockey with super quality in 1997. Rachel, you know all about this horse. He went viral a couple of years ago when he ran second. For the first time ever going into one of the marquee races on the calendar, he's had a good-looking prep with 2 starts, 2 good runs. Unlucky last time not to finish closer. Can he finally get that elusive Hollywoodbets Durban July from all this trying over the last 2 years?
He deserves it. If any horse does, he deserves it. He needs a touch from Lady Luck, which I have my suspicions looking at the way the pace of this race will work out. I think he will have. His prep has been ideal, and it would just be absolutely fantastic for a horse that, the whole team has put their whole heart into if he could do it for us.
Let's now move on to the next one. That, of course, is number 16, Gladatorian. Stuart Ferry and Sean Veal team up. This horse has come from middle distance success into the Hollywoodbets Durban July discussion. His run in the Hollywoodbets Gold Challenge just a few weeks back was eye-catching indeed. I'm going to kick off with you, Ant. As far as a Durban hope is concerned, in the reckoning?
He's definitely in reckoning. He's got a great turn of foot. Obviously, I think he'll get the trip. I've got no doubt that he'll get the trip. Obviously, the draw is a little bit of a concern. From that draw, he's going to be having to sit behind 8 on 18. And can he afford to give 8 on 18 start? I think it'll be a bit tough, but he's a horse that could finish in the trifecta.
Mark Luck and running is going to be a big question for Gladatorian, but it would be wonderful for Stuart Ferry if he were to follow in his boss's footsteps, Dennis Dreyer from 1992, a Spanish Galliard.
Absolutely. I mean, he's what a wonderful horse to own. I mean, if you come to the racecourse, one thing he's going to do is run on. Doesn't matter where he's sitting. And he's going to give you something to shout at. He's out of a dynasty mare by Vercingetorix. I mean, they haven't tried him over, but his style of running... okay, he's got another 600 to go, and will he have the same kick if he's going to go another 600? We don't know. But, I mean, last time, against arguably 2 of the better horses in South Africa, he's 1 stride away from winning almost. So, and he runs out pretty well. If he stays the trip, he most definitely is a runner. But even if he doesn't stay the trip, I think he's just one of those horses that's just all heart, and he always runs on no matter what the trip. So I wouldn't leave him out of anything, to be honest with you, and it wouldn't be a shock.
Justin, is he one of the horses that you're wary of?
I wish I'd bought him. I trained his mother. His mother was a gutsy little horse, and he's by Vercingetorix. I'm a big fan of certain stallions for this race. It always seems the same stallions win this race, and Vercingetorix is just shooting absolute lights out, his father, in all the Group 1s. The only thing does concern me a little bit, if what everyone's saying, that he's doing the step up, that he runs in a tongue tie. And that is the only thing that I'm just looking here. When a horse stepping up in more distance, I don't think you want to be seeing that at races in a tongue tie. There's a reason for that, surely. But take that away, he has done nothing wrong. And Sean Veal's busy getting his smile ready for this day. And it'll be very he deserves it, Sean, and Stuart Ferry, absolutely. But as I said, I don't like to hear that horses stepping up in distance.
Right, let's go on to number 17, Royal Victory. Nathan Kotson and Matsunyane team up. He went oh so close in this race 12 months ago, and he's been a little bit quiet. He won the Betway Summer Cup 18 months ago, went close on the Hollywoodbets Durban 12 months ago. Is he the same horse this time around, Kabelo?
Look, I think when you look at his form, he's still some sort of same horse. He hasn't done much wrong. His prep has been quiet, and with the bumping in last time with Fire Attack, it does show that he's still got heart for it. And it's just obviously he's got a tough draw to contest with. Matsunyane, he's been very close in the Julys in previous years, and he's been trying to get it. And I think with Royal Victory this year again, you can never take him out completely.
Anthony, where does he stand in the pecking order? So close last year, many people liked him last year, had draw one. It took him a long time to decide to gallop. Are these all signs that he might be 1 year past it, or do you think he's worth another go?
Alistair, that's my biggest concern, is the manner he behaved on the galloping morning. He didn't want to go gallop, and obviously they put the blinkers for the first time, so that's a big concern, and he was dripping with sweat. He is a horse that does get worked up, but he felt like he had run a race already, and his gallop was good. Listen, he's a good, honest horse. He's done very well for the owners. He's drawn poorly. I don't think he's got the turn of foot like a horse like 8 and 18, and he's a horse that could finish in the top 6.
Let's go on to number 18 on the card, Native Ruler. Justin Snaith and Tristan Godden team up. Got the most unideal draw on paper, but quite a lucky draw as far as winners of the Hollywoodbets Durban are concerned. Kabelo, you rode this horse in the City of Cape Town Politician Stakes, where he ran 3rd, and Oriental Charm did that last year.
Yeah, Native Ruler is a very nice horse, and I think he's probably the highest rated one-time winner in the race. And when I rode him, he gave me a nice feel, but obviously he was just still a bit immature, but he gave me a nice feel, and he's always that is on the up.
Justin, is that bad training?
Mark, would you say that's good training, getting a one-time win in the July?
I can tell you something. One-time winners don't win the July. I wouldn't have even been running it.
Let me tell you, best draw possible. I'll never forget Joey Ramsden.
The conglomerate.
Conglomerate. And Joey Ramsden draws 20, and he threw it in the air. Result, he won. So, best draw for the horse. We're there to have a bit of fun with him. We're going to give him a chance from the draw. I have told Tristan, just enjoy this outing. We'll be at the back of the field, let everyone have their fights and everything, and you never know, you might swoop around and have a go. So we know where we are in this race, and we're there for the Gears. And let me tell you, this horse, there's not much of him. He's by, again, versing Gedricks, which and the mare was top class, so he's got the pedigree to run a big race.
I trained them both, by the way.
Did you?
Sire and the mare.
Well, no wonder they won Group 1.
There you go.
So he is a horse that, wow, he's walking around at home like he's in the race, and let's hope he's a local boy, Tristan, and we're hoping for. You're looking for a story in the race, and I hope this horse could be one of those stories. But obviously, we under no illusion, we know we got our work cut out.
Okay, let's breeze through the 2 reserves quickly. Number 19, Litigation. Sean Terry trains. A rare year with no Terry runner in the Hollywoodbets Durban. Mark, if he were to get in, know him from our neck of the woods, outside place chance potentially if he got in?
Look, maybe. I think he's had a couple of cracks, hasn't he? He's been in the July before or not. He wasn't able to win it before. I can't see winning it now.
And then Kabelo, number 20, Son of Raj, reserve 2, so he'll need a lot of luck to get into the race. But if he did, 3rd tilt at the race, outside place chance, or just hoping for a minor check?
You'll definitely be hoping for a minor check with him, but he's also a top horse that never won a race until in February, after he won the Derby. So look, it's a long shot for him, but you've got a ticket, you might as well have a shot.
Okay, right. So let's get the final picks from the panel. Let's start with Justin. I know Justin's obviously going to say 3-way dead heat between his runners. 8 on 18, obviously blown the lid on that one, very confident. But if there was a horse not from your yard that you're most worried about, Justin, who would it be?
Selukwe.
Mark, not from your yard?
I agree. Well, I mean, obviously the favourite is an obvious horse. Definitely Selukwe and Gladatorian for now.
Kabelo, you obviously obliged. It's a purple picture, but who are your dangers?
Definitely 8 on 18, Selukwe and Gladatorian.
So all singing the same hymn sheet. Let's go to two people who are relatively objective in this discussion. Rachel, you can go with a 1, 2, 3, 4.
I was going to say, I'm definitely giving you my top 3 in no particular order. See It Again, Gladatorian, 8 on 18. And that's unbiased saying See It Again.
And Ants, from your side?
Yeah.
I think 8 on 18 is definitely the best 3-year-old, and we haven't seen a good 3-year-old like this for a long time. I think it'd be a very hard horse to beat, and I think Immediate Edge finished 2nd, Selukwe 3rd, and Gladatorian 4th.
Now, what about the rest of South Africa's media, commentators and presenters? What have they put together for us in the 2025 Hollywoodbets Durban July? Now, Hollywoodbets reach out to all the presenters, all the media, all the commentators around the country, ask them for their 1, 2, 3, 4. And then at the end, there's a scoreboard judging by these opinions. So what have they come up with in this year's Hollywoodbets Durban July? My name's there, Nico Kritsiotis' name's there, Grant Knowles as well. So there's some of them. Now, what about all the tote pools that are on offer at Hollywoodbets Durban July? Massive pick 6. There's so much going on. Obviously, the other 11 races have been discussed, and that'll be freely available on the Gallop TV platform. So a little bit of help coming your way as far as the 3 jackpots, 2 bipots, 1 place accumulator, massive pick 6, quartet carryover as well. Massive numbers. It is South Africa's biggest day. And don't forget, from a whirlpool perspective, they'll be behind the Hollywoodbets Durban July. 3 places only, but massive numbers in the win place, Quinella swinger pools that go along with it as well. So it's wonderful to have an international flavour as far as the 2025 Hollywoodbets Durban July is concerned. It's wonderful to have the Zulu team as part of the Hollywoodbets Durban July as well. Sanele and Uno will be calling a second Hollywoodbets Durban July. The Zulu panel will also be done. We'll have Sanele and Dumiso Mkadi will be hosting. Atsandiwe Mgulu, Samango Kamalo will be on that. And it's great to be back on SABC as well. Remember the glory days with Martin Locke and Robin Bruss. That's how I cut my teeth in horse racing, watching the SABC production for the Hollywoodbets Durban July. It's wonderful to be going out to the masses and including everybody on free-to-air television. So that's another tick in the box as far as Africa's greatest horse race is concerned. And here's the card to get all the winners. All 12 for your pick 6, for your Hollywoodbets Punter Challenge. Get your winning form. They are all over the shelves, all over the country. All the winners are in here in some shape or form. And that is pretty much a wrap. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to the team. Wonderful to have Justin Snaith, Mike de Kock, Anthony Delpech, Rachel Venniker and Kabelo Matsunyane in the studio to discuss the 2025 Hollywoodbets Durban July, the 129th running of Africa's greatest horse race. And we hope that you are part of the nearly 50,000 people who will make their way to Hollywoodbets Greyville on Saturday, the 5th of July. Until then, back all the winners, and we'll see you there. Goodbye.
The Hollywoodbets Durban July Panel Preview 2025 was powered by Hollywoodbets.